Hello again, everyone, and thanks for joining us as we tape another segment of Chicago Lawyer Magazine's Inside Out, an examination of different aspects of the law from the unique perspective of our husband and wife team. The inside perspective comes from David Susler. He is an inside counsel at National Material LP. The outside view from Tina Martini, a partner at DLA Piper here in Chicago. I'm Andy Shaw, President and CEO of the Better Government Association, and your host for these segments. And this time we're going to be talking about a 5-letter word, focus, which of course is a lot more important than the number of letters in the word. And let me start by asking you, because we all know that without it, we're lost in these professions that are multi-layered and multitasking. So either one of you can start and explain quite simply why it's important to have focus.
It's really important to have focus simply to perform at the highest level you can. And especially in this profession, with the demands that clients are putting on their lawyers, given the way that rate structures are, there's a real need to be efficient. And I would say that focus is directly linked to your efficiency. So if you're focusing on what you're doing and you're really immersed in it and making what's in front of you the most important thing to you at that very moment, you're just going to be much more efficient at getting through it. You're going to see all the different layers of issues, especially with legal problems. A lot of them are multi-layered. A lot of them intertwine legal issues and business issues. So you really need to be able to separate those and tease them apart. And it'll help you just in terms of thinking creatively and through how the best resolution, what the best resolution would be for a client.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really add much to that.
Focus, David. Come up with another answer.
I mean, you know, you focus, and there's so many distractions in the world today. You focus, that's quite simply, that's just how you get your work.
Well, that's what I need. So that's the obvious question, which is, how do you maintain focus in a world in which we're bombarded incessantly with all of the messages on our smartphones and, you know, billboards and TV and radio and so many digital intrusions? I got to be honest, I think it's harder for me sometimes because I'm back and forth so often from my email, texts, and all this stuff. Yeah. So I guess I'm asking how. It's easy to lose focus. How do you keep from losing it in a way that's detrimental to your profession and your relationships and your life?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is difficult, especially, you know, like you say, with all the distractions, all the people coming in. I'm flipping between matters and substantive areas all the time and being a generalist. So, you know, and it's going to be different for different people. I do a number of things. One thing that is most important for me when I'm in my office is I work to music. I need that music, and I'll only hear it when it goes off. I find the absence of music distracting. So that's really very important for me to focus. Sometimes I need to take a breath. I need to take a break. And that may be as simple as just, okay, let me just close my eyes for a second, take a couple deep breaths.
You do,
I don't say anything then, but and we talked about this in the print column, we both meditate every morning, and I think that's a higher level, longer term exercise to help maintain focus, because it helps to clear the mind at the beginning of the day and kind of set the focus for the day. But I do, sometimes get up and take a break. Sometimes taking a break, I'll walk around the office, or if I need to do in-depth, long-term project, but I've got a few little tasks I need to get done, just do them in advance and get them off your brain so they're not kind of chipping away at your focus. Little things like that.
Tina, what are the things that force you to lose focus?
Well, when I have the email pouring in, the phone ringing off the hook, I mean, I have my landline hooked up to my cell phone so that when I'm traveling, it just makes it easier for me to keep track of my phones. But I mean, there have been instances where I'm on a conference call and my two other outside lines are ringing. I'm getting emails flooding in. I have people banging on my door, although it's closed. I mean, it just reminds me of those old Calgon commercials, Calgon, take me away, remember those? But what I try to do is, especially if I'm on a conference call with a client where we're talking through really complicated issues, I will sometimes just turn my email off. I will ask my assistant, even with my door closed, she sits right outside my office, I'll say, please don't let anybody come in and interrupt, because I want to give clients my undivided attention, especially if we're sitting on the phone and we're talking through really complicated issues. And I think that there's really no way to perform optimally and to give clients what they're paying for, especially in those moments, whether it's a call with the client or whether it's with opposing counsel or what have you. You need to sort of just develop the mindset that the most important thing that you're doing is what's in front of you right now, and turn everything else off and then get back to it later. And what ends up happening is it makes the day longer, because you then have to circle back. Once you're able to move on to other things, you have to get into your email, you have to return calls and stuff like that. So I think that if you have a little bit more of a relaxed and calm attitude, and you're good at prioritizing, so that once you get off that call and then you're staring at 50 some emails that haven't been opened in the last half hour, if you have a good sense of prioritization, if you have a good rhythm to getting through emails, and you stay focused and you don't let a lot of outside meaningless distractions come in, I think you're able to develop that flow. I mean, it's really about being in the flow and making sure that you don't disturb that flow, especially when you're called on to be creative.
But you don't do the meditation stuff during the workday.
No, I do not.
And you don't either, David?
No.
And are there any other techniques that actually work during the workday to maintain focus?
Well, I think I was going to kind of pick up on what Tina said in terms of like turning off the emails. So if you're on a phone call, it's so easy to be distracted by email, I think especially, that the person on the other end of that phone call can usually tell when you're more focused on your email than on them. So kind of two for one, why is it important to focus on them? Well, for all the reasons you said, and it really, when you focus on somebody, they know you're focusing on them. They have a much greater appreciation for you and for the experience. That's how we as the lawyers deliver good client service. That's how we as the client feel we've received good client service, because I know you're focusing on me. Even over the phone, I can tell. So, what I do similarly is if I'm on a lengthy, in-depth phone call, I will stand up from my chair and I'll kind of walk around my desk so I can't look at my computer. And I've got a couple little bouncy balls that I picked up at conventions here and there that I pick up off my shelf, and I'll kind of just pace to the office and bounce like a old Super Ball or something, because it helps me focus on who's on the phone and what I'm talking about.
I think that's actually good. I think I just learned something, because there is such a tendency when you sit at your desk to handle a phone call and look at your email at the same time. A little less likely with the smartphone. It's a little more work. You can ignore that, but that's really good. I will just tell you, as we wind up the segment, a lot of focus, I think, is just habit. I spent a lot of years in the news business, many of them in very, very noisy newsrooms, filled with people in the early days clattering typewriters and people parading around yelling the old line copy and all. And you know what? You learn to tune all that out. I always say to people, you mentioned music. I mean, I can be in a crowded room with lots of noise and never hear anybody, because you develop a habit. I'm sure you guys have the same ability.
And I think it helps when you're doing something you enjoy. It helps to tune out the noise. But it's a habit, it's a practice, and you can teach yourself to tune out the noise.
Well, and I grew up in a house with 3 brothers, so it was a house full of boys making a lot of noise, and it was very, very close quarters.
I had a lot of daughters; they made a lot of noise.
Sisters who made a lot of noise.
I mean, I'd like to just sort of, as we round out the segment, I would just like to say that focus is so important, and I think that there's much more of an awareness of how important it really is. I've just been seeing a lot more about it in the last 12 to 18 months, just from a performance standpoint, and ways in which people can really move the needle in a positive direction on their performance. And I think especially for like associates in the audience, and even partners, that they can never underestimate how important it is to be focused on what they're doing, because we're in such a highly competitive industry that if you don't really try to get things as close to perfection, if not perfect, every single time, clients remember it and they don't like it. And focus is one of those ways that it will help you deliver as perfect of service as you can. So
yeah, I just was reminded of several years ago, Tina and I went to an event, and there was one of our U.S. senators was there, and we had a chance to meet him, and he spoke to each of us. It was totally probably a minute, right? But first he focused on Tina, and then he focused on me, and we walked away and we said, boy, when he was talking to me, it's like I was his entire world, and the rest of the world did not exist.
You actually thought that was sincere. I'm impressed.
No, it's not a matter of sincerity, but it's a matter of, it was sincere for the minute. Actually, it is a matter of sincerity because he practiced it, obviously. He does that, but it's similar to, I kind of made the comment in the column. I mean, you know, with my work as a generalist and in a busy office, and similar to, you know, people knocking on the door, you're jumping from this to that and the other thing constantly. And if you can practice, you have to pivot, and then instantly focus in again. It's very, very powerful.
And I'm glad that I wasn't looking at my email while we were doing this, or I think you guys would have really given it to me. David Susler, Tina Martini, the concept of focus this time, and a real treat if you join us next month. You will get a retrospective on 5 years of Chicago Lawyer Magazine's Inside Out. They haven't told me yet what my role is going to be in that, since I wasn't there for the entire 5 years, but I'll make it up along the way. I'll try to stay focused. I'm Andy Shaw. Thanks for joining us, and tune in next time.